Yeah, my people, how you doing? Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching Chinedu Anichi TV from. My name is Chinedu Anichi, as you know, and you're one and only celebrity here. So, and this is Chinedu Anichi TV, streaming live from St. Louis, Missouri, United States of America. My people, today is Wednesday, and the 11th of September, 2024. Today on our talk show, we'll be having a very resourceful personality, widely traveled, um, a financial guru, and a man who knows what it takes for somebody to survive on his own. He has experience to share. He has a way of leading us into success by one or two things is going to share with us today. So wherever you are, if you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook Live now, please share the live video. Let me have the privilege to welcome the operation manager, the trade and operation manager of Alphasync Capital. Alphasync Capital is based in the United States and has its tentacles in different parts of the world. So the trade and operation manager of Alphasync Capital is live here in the person of Mr. Andrew Kerobo. Mr. Andrew Kerobo, may I have the privilege, Andrew, um, to invite you on Chinedu Anichi TV. Mr. Andrew, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, I'm great. It's been a good day, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Andrew. I'm happy you're here today. Uh, I know what it took me to get you. So finally, you're here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So to God be the glory. You eventually you're here. Yeah. Thank you. It was the last time I saw you in Miami, and
Yeah,
that was mind blowing.
of
So it
course.
was a good experience. Thank you for the privilege of coming to our show.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Your show, my show, our show. So, for protocol sake, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
I'm Andrew Kerobo. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm now kind of based in Cincinnati, Dallas at the moment. I'm the operations manager, trade manager at Alphasync Capital. We do real estate investment. We also trade in the stock market and forex market as well. So we mainly focus on the futures, trading S&P futures, ES, Nasdaq futures, and we also invest heavily in the DFW area in multifamily, single-family properties as well. And we're always looking to expand and get into more things of that nature as well.
Yes, you. I will beg you for one thing. Some of my audience is Africa, the African.
Yeah.
So I want you to reduce the free. You know. I know you're used to other shows of CNN and where you do your free. Please,
Yeah,
my
it's kind of
great
a habit.
audience are
Yeah.
the African people, so I really want them to get what you're saying. Okay,
Sorry, yo. Sorry.
no problem. Thank you. We can't change you. That is you. So, but when I was researching about you, I had a glimpse that you're originally from Nigeria.
Yes.
So, which part of Nigeria are you from?
So my family comes from Edo State, from Okpala. Uh, my family's like originally came here. I want to say 30-ish years ago, maybe more than that, and we've been here ever since. But I personally haven't been there yet. I'm trying to make my way out there. I know there's land out there for me. Essentially, my family's land. So I would love to go out there, but that's originally where I'm from. Is from Edo State.
Okay. So, when last did you go to Nigeria?
Never.
Never. And hey, so you have never been to Nigeria, Andrew?
No. I
Wow.
just now left the country for the first time just this year. So I'm looking to make my way to Nigeria for the first time, at least by I want to say December or something like that. I want to make it out there.
Wow, wow. So will you love to be in Nigeria?
Yeah, of course.
That's great. Okay, thank you for having you and giving us Andrew. It's true that maybe never you were born here and raised here, but even those who were born here share experiences of what we call stories that make up the glory. You know, today you are where you are today. I know you as a um, very established person when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. But I can say you are one of our celebrities when it comes to your own area of specialization. So because you're a celeb in your own area, every celebrity has a niche, okay, and you're doing great within America and beyond. The last time I discussed with you, you told me how wide you have traveled. So I was amazed. So you can't be traveling like that if you're a spoon or a dummy. So, so you're one of our celebrities. So practically, I want to tell you what we do in Chinedu Anichi TV. That's why I don't want to use the word we excavated you. So because we look for our best within the shores of America and beyond globally, we look for our best and let our people hear from our own. So today we're having Mike and we're having Andrew, and you can see, Andrew, that the purpose of this platform is we call it African. You see, under me, you see African Voice in Diaspora.
Yes.
So, the Europeans have written books about Africa. Probably that's why you must have read one or two. They have done movies about Africa. Maybe you have been privileged to watch one or two. They have told stories about Africa. So, but the late great novelist we had in Africa, Chinua Achebe, Professor Chinua Achebe, he said, when an outsider tells your story, it will never end without prejudice. That is, urge Africans to tell their own story
Exactly.
because that is where the authenticity of their feeling, the authenticity of the reality of the story will come out. So we created this platform where we give Africans voice to tell their own story, to talk their own talk.
Right.
So you are one of our great sons, and when I discovered you, I said you will come to the African show and tell your own story. So how was like beginning in America? You know, when you started?
Well, I mean, you see my skin. I'm black, but when you look past that, my features and my name, I'm not just I'm not just your African American person that or the word I should be looking or words I should use is foundational Black American. I didn't come here through the transatlantic slave trade, and we we might look the same, but we only have the same experience up until a certain point. So growing up in the United States, at a certain point, I mean, nowadays it's hip to be Nigerian, and it's hip to be from Africa and everything like that. But when I was growing up, it was people would make fun of you for being an immigrant in the United States. I mean, I'm technically not an immigrant. I'm a first generation American, but they would still make fun of you, saying, "Hey, you're Nigerian, and you're from a different place." And every time make Nigerian food, you smell like Nigerian food as well, and they'll say like, "Oh, you have X, Y, and Z going on as well." They don't really understand what it took for my family to make it here, and they just they have their own preconceived notion that I'm different, and they'll make fun of me, obviously. But as the time has went on, and as Africa has now come back into like the world spotlight in regards to pop culture and music and things of that nature, it's everyone's interested in learning about our culture, learning about our background and our history more than ever before.
Okay, that's great. So that's wonderful. I just feel like you share how it was. It cannot be like ours who were in Nigeria, but at least you have your own experience.
Right.
And so, thank God you are sharing it with us today. So when I met you, I discovered you have a lot of package. And that's why I met you in Investors Summit, Investors Summit in Miami. That was where I met you.
Yeah.
So, and I discovered you have a lot of experience on how to develop people into trading and making money and all stuff. And thank God you are the operation manager of Alphasync Capital. What is Alphasync Capital? What do they do? And how can it benefit African community, especially those in diaspora?
Right. So I came up with the name Alpha Sync specifically because alpha means, profit, money, and sync, I want you to essentially put it into your daily cycle, essentially, of, retaining money and retaining the ability to, generate alpha, essentially, and to basically bridge the gap that some people have when it comes to either making money or generating wealth, and more bringing, I want to say, more of a, I guess, human side to when it comes to wealth generation, instead of just saying, I can make you a lot of money and you can have a flashy name and, a very flashy business. But at the end of the day, Alpha Sync Capital is all about doing the things that work, proven techniques, proven strategy that comes to generating alpha in the real estate and financial markets that we have in the United States and beyond, honestly, because the same principles that you can take in our markets, in the stock market, you can take in using I think it's called DAX in Germany. You can take it into the Forex market. I know that Forex has always been, I guess, a way for other Africans, specifically other Nigerians as well, to trade other people's money specifically, to, to generate their own alpha. So the same techniques that, we teach for the U.S. stock market, you can obviously apply to, things like Forex and that nature as well.
Wow, that's great. Wow, that's great. So, what can the how can the African community, which you are longing to reunite with, how can they benefit from this your program?
The way they can honestly benefit from this program is a way to not have to necessarily depend on someone else for their own success. They won't have to wait or, put their money into something that they basically won't essentially see anything out of in many years or anything of that nature. It enables them to use what, the drive that they have to become a better person, to be 1% better every single day. And they want to be able to implement that drive that they have, but they don't know where to start. So we take people who've essentially, from every single level, from, I would say, top level to more basic beginners, who say, I have an idea of what's going on, but at the end of the day, I don't know where to start. And if I do start, what's going to happen after? Will I be successful? And if I'm not successful, is there somebody that's going to be able to help me get past those issues? If I am successful, how do I stay successful? And it's all about psychology, on top of the strategy that you implement in every single asset. You should be able to properly conduct, the business that you like to do, or the alpha generation that you like to do, whether that's real estate, whether that's people like Airbnbs, short-term, long-term rentals, or maybe, Forex trading, and you're trading USD JPY pairs, or USD XAU or something like that. Just different pairs and just basically taking what they know, taking what they don't know, and giving them what they need to be successful.
Okay. Wow, that's a great one. Thank you. So I want to take you back to African cultural values. From the little ones you have learned, um, and you've hearing of the choking angry finger of the economy in Nigeria, where we come from, because people will be talking to you, talking about the economy, how bad it is, and how people have been suffering. So, what comes to your mind now that you want to go to Nigeria? So, what comes into your mind?
When it comes in regards to like the economy and how things are currently in like the economic and socioeconomic state. I mean, when I was growing up, I think it was 100 naira was $1, and what is that now? 10 times the amount. So was it 1,000 naira? There's like 80 something cents. Uh, it's not, it hasn't been great. I'm not as well educated as like my brother. He knows a lot more about the situation. He was just there not too long ago. He just got back after being there for around 8 months. He knows the situation more better than I do. But inflation and I want to say I'm just speaking from just what I've seen and from the information I've gained from different Nigerian platforms and also some Nigerian people that I know that who are currently, they go to Unilag and they traded as well at one point, and they said that the situation isn't super great, and the way that the government is setting things up, it's kind of set to bleed essentially. So the Nigerian government has been bleeding itself of resources, money, education, proper medical, everything. It's just been bleeding out just due to selfishness from people that I believe are people at the top because they have the access to everything. So, I mean, I'm not trying to like specifically bash on anybody because I haven't done the research to know what's really going on, but you can see that when a country that doesn't have like the massive capabilities as the United States, when something goes missing, somebody has to, somebody will get affected from it because we can keep printing money at the end of the day, and we have something to back it. We have gold, military, oil, and people, essentially would use it as a fear tactic. But Nigeria doesn't have the same way to back up its own currency due to it giving away its own resources since it's been incepted. It's been how many years? Like 6 decades, 5 decades since Nigeria gained independence.
Wow. So, considering all this you have been hearing, because you have not really felt it, you've not gone there to see how it is, but at least you must not go step into fire for you to know that fire burns people, And so, with this kind of things you're thinking, if you're given opportunity, let's say you're given opportunity to um, advise young people or advise Nigerians? What is your dream like? The Nigerian dream, like the kind of Nigeria you want to see if you go home that will look better.
It would take a lot of people to get it done, and it's a dream, like you said. But in my dream, there would be proper infrastructure. You can go a week without having to run a generator. You'll always have light. You don't have to worry about having to necessarily pay for your own treatment when you go to hospital or you go to get medical treatment from a clinic or anything of that nature, you don't have to pay necessarily up front. And there's an actual way to an actual credit system essentially that you can use that I'm pretty sure is not really existent because I mean when I've heard certain stories in regards to the credit, I mean it's kind of just you're gonna pay it or you're gonna have some issues with the bank. So this essentially the way for proper infrastructure, proper healthcare. I heard people don't have proper access to food and water, and they're in major cities like Lagos, Abuja, and they still don't have access to, the proper basic needs that a human needs. So honestly, that would be another thing that I would hope for as well. Also, a proper education system, so certain people aren't left behind in regards to their academic shortcomings and essentially taking the image of Africa being not as developed as more than a lot of the countries that you'll see in regards to major superpowers, major economic and major population superhouses like India, the United States, Russia, and things of that nature. Just just able to be up there and just revamp everything in regards to the economics and currently what they're doing. And finally, when it comes to the government, a government that actually has like checks and balances, a system that's similar to what we have in the United States. Like I said before, I'm not well versed in the Nigerian government and how it's set up. If you ask me about the United States government, I'll be able to tell you a lot of information about it. But like I said, I don't think it's run the same way or a similar way because a lot of things go missing, a lot of projects go unfinished, and that's not something that I would like to see in a dream Nigeria, honestly.
And there's nobody to answer for it.
Never.
So it's good. Thank you for that dream. And that's what we have always wished. Okay, I want to ask you something about the media and how they present Africa. So the main reason why this kind of platform will come it. Do you think that the Western media really present Africa the way it is? Because a lot of what we see on the Western media are the bad part of Africa. Nobody will show you how beautiful our culture is, how our marriages, our cultural values, how they be celebrated, and the traditional values that are worthy of emulation, and our sound morality anchored in our way of worship with sincerity and a commitment to anything that has to do with God. So, do you think the Western media is really representing Africa properly? And if they are not, what do you think Africans should do to alienate themselves from being misrepresented in the Western media?
They are. I mean, Africa's always been looked at differently, and it currently is, and it's not properly represented for many reasons. The main reasons are people already have that same preconceived notion that it's underdeveloped and there's nothing going on there that's worth anything. There's just it's just you get resources there for your iPhone or something like that. How there's lithium mines and that's where they get the resources that they use to build the modern world as it is today. But that's kind of what they think about it. That's what they kind of they see. They see that it's just a big mine of precious resources, and the people working there are just suffering, and they don't have any thing going on except for they'll slave for you know basically pennies every single day. And the way to actually, I guess, fix the image that people may see. I mean, I see it now that just because of the way that my algorithm is set up on my phone and how I, if you interact with certain different cultures and certain like videos, you'll see more, you know, um, different types of the videos from the country onto your phone. So the only way to actually see something is for essentially social media to properly put it into your phone. And it might sound weird, or it might sound like, that's kind of, manipulative. But at the end of the day, every single social media app that you have on your phone is based off an algorithm that is just guessing to, that you might like this information, and you can keep scrolling and looking at that information. So honestly, it just takes, looking at what you can see. I mean, because the continent of Africa and Nigeria, they put out a lot of good content that make Nigeria look really good, like from people going out to, dinner, going to do events in the city and things of that nature. It looks like a place you'd want to be. But then you also have people who are actively working against themselves in the country, who post things that don't necessarily move the country forward, and doesn't necessarily move Nigerian people forward. And it's kind of an issue. But the only issue that gets with that is, people see it and they're like, this is what it all is, and they don't bother looking at anything else, because the only information they get is somebody making a fool of themselves or something of that nature. So they don't have much option.
Yeah. So I agree with you with the issue of somebody working against himself, because the kind of things, especially this era of monetization of social media platforms, so people tend to put up out anything there to be able to earn money. So
Right.
they know the social media is not like the traditional media. And the traditional media, a lot of things are censored. Or yes, it's a censor. They have always had a censor department who go through it. You understand? Check if it is something that it appears gory, or something that shouldn't be put out, or does not represent properly the image of the African community. But in the social media, you can just stay in your house, generate whatever you want, and there's no room for people to supervise and try to go through it before it's put out. So I agree with you that a lot of us are really working against ourselves because we don't consider the kind of damage what we put across does to the African people.
Exactly.
Okay. So how do you see marriage in Africa?
It's different because I know people who have, or I went to school with them. They're from Africa as well, and they're married, but they're younger than me as well. So I don't think they got married the traditional way, or excuse me, I don't think they got married the traditional American way. Um, but when I see marriage in Africa, it's either kind of like the American side, or it's kind of a little bit more than that. So I'm not really good at. I couldn't really give you too much because me myself, I'm not married, so I don't know how it works. And some people have been married for a lot, longer than I've been alive. So I don't have too much to say other than that. There's people who they find who they believe they'll work well with, and it'll be a proper partnership for the rest of their life. And some people it doesn't work out for multiple reasons. At the end of the day, it's kind of hard for me to say.
Yeah, do you know, for you not have been to Nigeria before, and eventually you go December, you're a handsome young man, you have good qualities, and our girls are queens too. They might see you and you will see them like, if you marry people that have not been in the States, do you think it's possible to blend with this kind of full-blooded Western orientation you have?
That'll be hard because it'd be because like some people don't have any issues. Some people don't have any issues with it, but then it'd be different for me. It would be very different. That's all I can say.
Because a lot of things, the way you see it is not the way they see it in Africa.
Yeah, because it'll be, and I already have people already gonna have different opinions with how I think here. So, and we already come from a similar background of being in the United States. So it might be more of a more work that needs to be done, but I don't think it's impossible. So
Okay, but um, for you not to have traveled, I know that it cannot be solely your fault because sometimes the ideology of parents influence the young people growing. Because if your parents are those people that usually always in Africa, I know you must have gone to Africa severally. So do you think it is good for parents not to give their children privileges to visit their traditional nationality? And what's your advice for young people who don't have these privileges, just like you?
honestly, I wanted to go when I was younger. Because I mean, it was always interesting for me to see it, through Nollywood movies and things of that nature. Because that was my full like introduction into Nigerian culture. Because it's either what I see in the United States with my Nigerian parents and the people that they knew who were Nigerian, or if I went to any Nigerian events, which wasn't all the time, but I did go to a good amount of Nigerian events, but like I wouldn't say like I was 100% always at a Nigerian event. So I mean, I would have loved to have went. It probably would have changed how I thought, because like I said, I'm in a place where I have consistent electricity. The air conditioning is always running in the house, so it would have changed how I probably would have thought, and I probably would have appreciated. I mean, I appreciate everything I have now, but the level of appreciation I have of what I have in this country would probably be different. And honestly, if I have the ability to take my children to Nigeria, they'll go to Nigeria as well because I'm a Nigerian American. At the end of the day, I that's all I know is because I can't say I'm a foundational Black American. I can't say that my ancestors went through the transatlantic slave trade to get to where we are in the United States. I can't say that. So when my children ask where we're from, I'll point to where we are on the map, and in the heart of it all. And honestly, I think that every parent who comes from Nigeria or from any part of Africa, honestly, if they didn't have their children in Nigeria or any part of Africa, I think they should take their children to experience it and, have them see where they're really from because it matters at the end of the day to know where you came from.
Okay, among your friends who are purely Americans that don't have any anchorage with Africa, so there's always a discussion here. Like, for example, if you ask an African mother, maybe you disturb her and say, "Where is this from?" He will tell you, "It's here." And sometimes they will tell you, "Today is Christmas." For you, maybe you just did something wrong. They say, "We'll forgive you because today is Christmas for you. Next time will be Halloween." You understand? So, these are known. The qualities we know about African mothers and the way they control their kids. Like, there's something my mother used to do there. If we are in a maybe she has visitors and we don't supposed to stay there and look at them discuss, she don't need to tell us to go away. She will just pass and eye you. There are this kind of eye. She will look at you, man, you just disappear from that place. You know, but these are not the kind of things we see in America. Did you do you miss such kind of things from African mothers?
What was that?
Do you miss that kind of attitude from correctional attitude from African mothers?
Well, I mean, no, because I was a child. I didn't want to be yelled at. I mean, have my ear twisted, or want to ask a question I should be answering or asking, and they say no to the question. I ask why, and then they say Z, and it's like, yeah, it's funny. Like when you look back at it, and then if you have your own children, and then you use the same techniques and the same. the same, phrases and things like that. It'd be different because you're raising them. But like looking back, I mean, it's funny, but like, yeah, I mean, it was like having to. It's fun. It's always just funny because like. Because they always said something crazy and you always had to listen to it. So that may be that you had to listen to it, or you see Pepe, what they say.
You see, Pepper. Wow, so we are really enjoying you, and those who are watching us, so they are enjoying you seriously. So, yeah, that's good. So, our intention for bringing you is just to share your experience, and for being somebody who have been here, you've never been to Nigeria, and you love Nigeria because the time you saw us, the time you met some of us who are from Nigeria in that summit, you were so happy. You were always all of us. So and we appreciate that. So while going on, I met you through the Black Mentor. That is Dr. Joseph Natum. He's He's a mindset coach and is into the kind of business you do too.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, all that his coaching and all those things that is ahead of him, has it in any way impacted in your life or influenced the thing you do positively?
Yeah, honestly, it has. I mean, at one point, I had a business worth up to $3 million in 2021, and even to that point, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand how to sustain it. I was just kind of winging it at the end of the day. Um, and I didn't have any connection to anybody other than the people who I bought the materials I used to sell to my customers. So I was kind of stuck in a certain spot where I wouldn't really be able to advance in the way I wanted to because at the end of the day, I didn't want to be doing the business I was doing then, which was selling auto parts. I didn't want to be stuck doing that because it's a lot of work, and I didn't hire anybody to do any work until the last couple of days of our operation. I had hired sales and I hired different other people to manage the business essentially because I was wearing seven hats. So getting his coaching and learning that you have to work the proper way and put in the proper work in order to scale your business. It's been invaluable. Honestly, I there hasn't probably been any, I guess, experience that I can probably relate to when it comes to business in my recent years to it. So I've done a couple of like workshops originally, like boot camps, and from there, I mean, I've made excellent connections to Dr. Joseph himself, to his mentor, JT Fox. I've been invited to speak at one of his conferences as well. So it's just been honestly an amazing experience to meet him and to get those connections and to learn from somebody who he didn't come here not too long ago. He came here in 2017. That was the year I graduated high school, and,
Yes.
and he's been able to take what he knew before and was able to add more to it from by going to the right-minded people who've been there and done it multiple times, and also been able to bring someone who's been there and was able to make them do it again, and was able to essentially scale not just only his business but scale the people who also get involved and also want to take control of their situation.
Oh, yeah, also I met him that way, and I think he has impacted a lot in my life. And I think anybody around him. I was privileged also in that our meeting, that our church, and the yacht meeting, I was able to meet um, Joseph Beko. Or is that Joseph Beko? Joe Beko. Yes, I was able to meet Ruben. You remember what we saw in Orlando? That
Yeah,
um, that it's something you need 926 or thereabout. Unit of houses in eight mansions. Remember.
yeah,
So it has been, yeah, it has a positive impact on the way I think, especially when it comes to wealth creation and management of money. So I think he has also done great with me. So, and I'm happy meeting you there. And as
definitely.
we have sustained and consolidated on the continuity of that rapport that was established because that's what we need to do for each other.
Right.
So today, Africans are benefiting from what you're saying a lot. You're creating a lot of impact. It might look as if it's just ordinary, but not. The great community that are listening to you, and a lot of people, a lot of families that are here that have not even gone home, that are listening to you. And that's a very good encounter. So, I want to ask you about your advice. I want to ask you of like the young people in Nigeria, if they want to come to America. So we have always talked about skill acquisition. It's not everybody that must be a graduate. It's not everybody. And some immigrants, even what they studied in Nigeria, when they come over here, they won't find their footing. They don't even know where that will take them to. They will go back to Walmart, 9 to 5, ordinary jobs. So, with your experience, with your experience, what is your advice to young Nigerians who want to migrate to US on skill acquisition?
If you want to come to the United States at the moment, I wouldn't say it's the best timing to do so. The way that the jobs market is, the job market in our current situation is there's hypothetically speaking there's 10,000 jobs or 10,000 job postings, but only 1,000 jobs. Uh, so it's not necessarily easy feat to find an actual job that's not just working in, fast food retail or things of that nature. It's not as necessarily easy. If you have like like you mentioned a degree, there's also universities in the United States that will take your degree and they'll say that you need to do X, Y, and Z. You need to go and do certain studies, and you can get accreditation. So honestly, if you would want to move to the United States or migrate to the United States, um, having some accreditation that you can find that will have you into a high-paying job will probably have the best impact for you, or having your own way to generate alpha or generate money. If you don't have, like you know, if you don't have like essentially like a million US dollars to spend on, the program we were talking about in Orlando, it's kind of difficult to come here and just hit the ground running. It will take some time, and based off of from when my parents first entered the country and how they took their steps in the paths they took, you're going to have to get either more education or more accreditation. That's the best advice I can probably give you if you want to properly move here and not have to suffer, and you can essentially not have to worry about any issues when it comes to citizenship. If you want to become a U.S. citizen as well, you just have to have the proper steps put into place, and you have to be disciplined enough. And like many wealth coaches and many business people I've met, they say that all African immigrants or immigrants in general are harder working than your average American, because it already took you something to say, I need to leave my current situation and come to the United States. So we already have it easy here. You can say like we've we have the government programs, and we have everything's, I want to say, not perfectly ran, but it's not bad. It could be a lot worse, and people don't really understand that, and immigrants see that some people came here thinking the roads would be paved in gold, and people still like were thinking that up until the invention of social media, and everyone's gotten onto it. I mean, I guess I would say like my parents, but my parents, the people who've come from Nigeria, and they were expecting the road to be legitimately paved in gold, and it to be the most wonderful place on the face of the planet. I mean, to some people it is, but at the end of the day, you just have to have that discipline it took you to get from Nigeria or wherever you're from in Africa and to come to the United States. That's already one step to just to leave everything that you've known and your culture and to coming into the biggest melting pot in the world, where there's you're the only person from West Africa in 300 miles. It can be crazy. It can be different, but you just have to have that ambition to say I want to leave, or I want to make a better life for myself in the United States.
Yes, I don't want to call some of this name or platforms. There are platforms in Nigeria now that consistently is encouraging people from traveling out, telling them that there's no life in the US, there's no need migrating, there's people are suffering, people are doing this. Do you buy that idea?
I don't buy the idea. It just the way that it's kind of set up now in the United States. I don't know if you saw the debate last night.
No.
It's kind of getting back to 2001 xenophobia levels, 2020 xenophobia levels, with Haitian immigrants being called, pet eaters, eating ducks and things of that nature. It's kind of ridiculous, and that's the only thing you really have to worry about in regards to this country. But the xenophobia and the alleged racism that you can see, that's more like 1%. Or I mean, if you have an accent, you're obviously going to be treated differently, and you can have a British accent, you can have an Australian accent, a Scandinavian accent. People are going to look at you differently if you don't speak kind of like me, or if you don't speak like you're from the United States. You're going to be looked at different. But at the end of the day, in 2024 going into 2025, people are honestly looking past all of this and encouraging someone to stay where they are if they believe they can do something better somewhere else. Encouraging them to stay somewhere isn't necessarily what I would promote. Um, Unless they're a top doctor or something like that, or a top neurosurgeon or something of that nature. I would recommend you can go anywhere you'd like. You're gonna if you're gonna better yourself, the place where you're going. It only makes sense to make that change and make the leap and go somewhere different. And listening to somebody else saying that you should stay here, if you don't believe that you're bringing anything to where you're at, then why bother?
Wow, that's great. Well, you see, our platform, as I explained to you what we do here. So we just try to bring in our best, showcase the good part of Africa.
Of course.
So because I met one American friend, and we were discussing, and we were looking at a lion in a one movie, and I was saying, "Hi, lion." He said, "Okay, is this the first time you see lion?" I said, I've never seen lion physically, unless the one I saw in the zoo one time I was small." He said, so I was thinking lions are everywhere in Africa. So, so you can see the kind of idea, the kind
Yeah.
of some people believe that we sleep on the trees, some people, this kind of thing. So we bring this platform to let the world also know that we don't sleep on the trees, and we have mansions, we have good hotels, we have all that you have here. It might not be in the same degree or the same level, but we have all that you have here in Africa. And that is why we have brought you. So, what will you tell our audience and those who watch you even offline about Chinedu Anichi TV as a platform of African voice in diaspora.
It's important to have a platform like this where it's constructive, it's informal, it's educating, people who are interested in different topics, and different backgrounds. You're giving people like myself, who's a Nigerian American, you're giving Nigerians directly, people who are still in the country, some people who are people who've immigrated to the United States and are working to become U.S. citizens. You're giving people the vision, essentially, showing that what you see outside of your window is what you see outside of your window. But people, everyone has a different house and everyone has different windows, so everyone's views gonna be slightly different. Even if you're in the same building, if you're on the 15th floor and someone's on the 25th, your views are gonna be different regardless. So being able to show that this is what I see and this is what I know, and you're giving the opportunity to basically give people like myself a platform to speak, and it's just very important to show that there's things that are going on that are just more than what you see on social media that the algorithm shows you. The algorithm is only going to show you what you may have looked at too long or anything like that. So being able to put someone like myself and your other guests that come on to the show and give them this platform to speak about what they know, it's important to have these things. It's very important.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that recommendation and validation. Um, we'll close we'll wrap the curtain for the day today. We're almost 52 minutes. So the show is always within 30 minutes and 1 hour. So you have done noble and we're happy you're here. But before we go finally, I want you to give a strong message to African people, being somebody who have experienced the Western world, born and grown here, but you still believe in African traditional values, the way you talk, the way you believe in it, the way you long to visit Nigeria, the way you talk about portions of land that is your own, that shows that you still have an anchorage to the saying that says, home is home. So what's your message to Nigerians and for those who are like you, who have not had the opportunity of going home?
Oh, it's kind of difficult. But honestly, I mean, the less I'll say, the better in this situation. So honestly, it's very important to know where you've come from and to know your background and your history and to know what it took for you to be where you are right now as you stand on the shoulders of those who came before you. So just when it comes to people in Nigeria now, it's the situation might not be what you want it to be, but if you honestly put the effort in that you would like, you can honestly change where you want to your situation where you want to be. Not everywhere is where you need to be at. So like some people say, I want to get to Europe by Russia or something like that. That might not be the best idea. Like, just in my opinion, just put in the effort that you need to do to get to where you need to be. And if you think that you need to be sitting on a yacht in Monaco, sipping martinis with your friends, then the action needs to be starting right now. I mean, you need to do something about it right now. But if you're happy where you are right now, and you have content, and this is where you want to be, and you're able to not only grow your family and just promote doing the right thing and generating a better tomorrow for the country that you live in. I mean, that's honestly all you need. It's like I said, I don't have too much to say. It's just I just
Yeah,
have.
thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew, can you give a shout out to whoever you choose? It could be your audience, it could be your father, it could be your mother, it could be Africans, it could be authors, it could be mentors, and those who have to just give a free shout out to whoever you wish in this show.
Definitely. So I want to say thank you to my parents, obviously my dad, Godfrey, mom, Joyce, brothers, Justin, Joshua. Joshua, he came back from Nigeria himself. I don't know if they're watching. If they are watching, I appreciate everybody who came to watch. Any of my friends from Instagram, Facebook, if you see me on here, thank you for coming. Uh, Thanks to my mentors, Dr. Joseph being one of them. Honestly, wouldn't have this opportunity without him. Just overall, and I also had another mentor who taught me how to trade, Jalen. He goes by JSLA. If you're interested in his mentorship as well, I mean, I can also get you sent to his direction. But he's probably one of the best traders of my generation. I give him that. He's definitely a excellent trader. He's taught me everything I know. Well, I wouldn't say everything because I've had to now learn my own thing and take what he's taught me. But up to a certain point, he taught me everything I knew, and he we went from being broke in junior college in the middle of nowhere in Kansas to we're now doing he's very successful, and he's done well. So I had to shout him out as well. Yeah, I think that's about it. Just thank you to Cincinnati, Ohio, from where I'm from, and Dallas, where I'm at right now. We're ready to take over.
Well, thank you, Andrew, for making our time to come. We also give shout out to Black Mentor. He's watching, and he said, "That's my first son." I want to bring it to the to the screen so that you see what he said. That's my first son. So somebody like him, he's busy, but he continues to check up on all of us who are his mentees, and that's a very good part of him. He has always checked up on us to find out how we're doing. And I also give a shout out to Black Mentor. So, who he may not know how far his mentorship has gone until he sees generations testifying in no distant time. But it's true. So, because the thing is becoming like infectious.
Yeah, it's like
What you got from
it's a good
him,
disease. You can
like
say.
myself, my kids are already feeling the impact of what I got from him. So, and we'll tell you out there, if you want mentorship and you are in US, you're privileged to be on his social media. Just check out the Black Mentor, um, get his mentorship, and you will never remain the same. So thank
Definitely.
you, Andrew, for coming. I appreciate, and may God bless you. Any other time we might still call you to say one or two things, or we can pay you with somebody else who has the same background with you, maybe a lady this time, and we'll have a little discussion in the show.
That works for me. I'll be here for it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my people. My name remains Chinedu Anichi, your one and only celebrity CSO. And this is Chinedu Anichi TV, streaming live from St. Louis, Missouri. And today we brought for you the and operation manager, or trade and operation manager of Alphasync Capital. Alphasync Capital is an organization, a financial organization that has really opened up ways for a lot of people to personally survive. So we solicit that you follow Andrew Kerobo on the social media platforms, and also we recommend you check up on the Black Mentor. So, my people, thank you for having time to be with me. We are wrapping up today. Remember, Chinedu Anishi TV is streaming live on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, 2 p.m. Central American Time, 8 p.m. Nigerian Time. Thank you for having time to be with me. Remember, humanity is at the center of what we do. So go out today and show love. Don't wait for the people you think they are money bags and billionaires. We are all potential destiny helpers, wherever we are. So go out today and touch somebody's life. Remember, I love you. We are the African voice in diaspora, and we rise by lifting others. I love you. Thank you.